Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Today I have got the cutest card for you. All right, take a look. This is a book binding explosion card featuring the Share a Milkshake bundle. I love this Share a Milkshake bundle. I'm featuring it heavily. We're about to introduce a stamp camp and Stamp a Stack card class featuring it. This card matches, and I'm offering a weekend special. If you order both, pre-order, you have to email me and ask for the link, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. If you pre-order the Share a Milkshake Stamp a Stack class packet and the Share a Milkshake Stamp Camp, it's online only, this will not be on the blog, with the packet, so you order the two together, pre-order them by emailing me for the link to pay. I will include an extra kit for this card. You'll save $5 on the two packets, and you'll get your first collectible Camp Wana stamp badge for 2023. All right, so this is our card project today. And if you get this packet for your bonus as a freebie, then you will use your gingham paper from the Stamp Camp. There's a half a pack in here, so you're gonna have lots and lots of extra. And you'll use your elegant faceted gems and ribbon and things from the Stamp a Stack. You're gonna have plenty of materials for it for your embellishments and your designer series paper. I'm gonna include the cardstock pieces that you need for one more project. All right, let's get started with this card. My card base is petal pink, and it is 4 1/4 by 11, so it's a hot dog card. And we're gonna score this hot dog card like you normally would for a hot dog card at 5 1/2. And then we're also gonna score at 6 3/4. All right, now, the other part of the mechanism for this card is a piece of 6x6 designer series paper. So we're gonna take this one and we're gonna score at 3 inches, rotate to the right, score at 3 inches. All right, then we're going to take 6 inches down 6 inches, or actually I think it ends up being like, because on the point, is it still 6 inches? Nope, it's like 8 1/2 inches. And now we're gonna line up the point so it's in the 6 inches, and the other point so it's in the end of the 6-inch track where our stylus is, and score point to point. Now you can just do that with the bone folder if you want to, just fold it in half that way. I think it gives our mechanism a nice clean fold, and there's no cracking on my designer series paper when you score it first. You kind of break up those fibers a little bit. Now let me get my bone folder, and we're gonna work these score lines. And we want to work them opposite. I want the mint macaron on the inside this time. And I'm going to work those inside out first. That also helps to ensure that your pattern doesn't crack on the side that's facing out on your card. So do it inside out first. Then you're going to take this little bit. You're going to fold the pattern that you want to show in. Do you see we're lifting up those two corners, bringing this in like a square, and we're going to work this with a bone folder, get it really nice and tight squared up, point to point. Now let's grab our card base, bring that in. We're going to work the scores on this one. Now, something that you should know, this is inspired by a newsletter project. If you're not a newsletter subscriber, get over to kitchentablestamper.com/email and get on our list. There's a new project every week, and you will learn something and you will get valuable content. You'll get the printable project sheets that are collectible. They really are. This was from July 2022, and we are going to use that information that we learned to make another card completely different. And then let me show you another one really quick. So with my team members, I do the newsletter tutorials live. So I have an extra Facebook Live just for my team, and we take the newsletter tutorial that was sent out on Monday, and we make it together in a Facebook Live. And oftentimes I switch up the materials to give my team members even additional ideas. So if you've thought about joining Stampin' Up and you're on the fence, If you've got any questions, we'd love to have you on the Kitchenettes. You're missing out if you're not an email subscriber, and you're missing out if you're not on the newsletter list. I'm going to add my Designer Series paper pieces to the front of the card here. And I'm just using a little bit of fast fuse. I found a few of these refills in my closet, and I want to use them before they're not in prime sticky condition anymore. This is a 4x4 piece of the gingham 6x6 Designer Series paper. This is 1x4. We're putting those on the outside in between the score lines. Now we've got some suede ribbon here. We're going to cut maybe, I don't know, 5 inches or so. We want enough to go the front of the card and then wrap to the inside. Now here you're going to use tear and tape, fast fuse, Seal Plus, something strong. And I recommend that you go across the very top of the card with that strong adhesive and across the very bottom of the card. And then you could even go 2 widths of that and then down the center. Now we're going to take our ribbon and line it up where we want it on the front of the card, and then tuck to the back into this adhesive. All right, so we've got our adhesive. If this was tear and tape, then you'd take another strip and put it over this ribbon. We really want to give this no excuse to pop up. We're going to close this and burnish, especially where that ribbon is. Use your bone folder, get it good, secure, and then underneath the ribbon. Now you've got a book binding card. This is a great fun fold on its own. Let's make it a book binding explosion card. We're going to add our Designer Series paper. Now you want to make sure that it opens over here on the right hand side, okay? And once you've got it open on the right hand side, then you want to center it. Uh-oh, got a little sticky finger there. Then you want to center it inside the card. You want it on point, right up against that fold. Make sure it's nice and even. Burnish that. Then we're going to grab some more strong adhesive. Again, I recommend for this card, for all these, a strong adhesive. Use your tear and tape, use your Seal Plus. If you're still using some fast fuse, if you found some in the closet, use your fast fuse. Liquid glue, it will hold nicely too, but you have to wait until it grabs before you open and it slides. Do you love that? Now, the other thing I will say to keep in mind for a card like this is that from here, you're going to see a little bit of that backside of your Designer Series paper. From here, you're going to see the backside. So when you choose your Designer Series paper, you're going to want to pick one that has a pleasing color palette pattern on both sides. Okay? This is going to be really fun next. I cut a couple of die cut pieces. These will be done for you if you get the kit. So let me show you those really quick. The little teeny little tag. I love this die. It is from the Meadow Dies. If you're cutting your own kit, if you didn't get the bonus, then you'll want to find a little tag. That's where I'm getting my little tags these days. And then I also cut my pierced circle. This is the largest one. I did basic white. It's Stylish Shapes Dies. And my label, I've got the largest one from Seasonal Labels, and it is about 3 by 3 7/8. You want it to be smaller than the 4x4 Designer Series paper you got going on here. So if you're picking a different label and cutting your own kit, keep that in mind. Now, ready? Here's the fun part. I have got the brand new 3D B6 embossing folders. They are online exclusives for March. Demonstrators get them now. Again, another reason to join my team, the Kitchenettes. We can pre-order these things, and we're going to use one of those 3D B6 embossing folders. I love this bubble folder. It's just too cool. And we will also emboss your label for you in your kit so you can see how cool this bubble folder is. I'm going to take my label, line it up inside of my folder with the line, the end of the label along the Stampin' Up line, so I get nice level bubbles. It's 3D, so we're using 1 and 4. Let's give it a crank, and I can't wait to show you the results. Such a simple little detail, but it adds so much to the card over just a plain flat label. Do you see those bubbles? They're cool. They're very cool. All right, if you are a demonstrator, you can pre-order the 3D Basics. If you're thinking about joining, you can get the 3D Basics in your starter kit. Or if you're a customer and you're a happy customer, you're not thinking about joining, look out for the 3D Basics when the March 1st online exclusives pop online. All right, let me get this one glued down, and then we're gonna do some stamping. Oh dear, I just love this folder. You guys, stamping makes me happy. All right, now slide to the side. Before we stamp, let's grab a little more espresso ribbon. We're gonna slide this under. Okay, do you see? I've got, I don't know, maybe thumb to index finger. Do you see that? That's kind of how I measure ribbon. I'm not kidding you. We're going to loop up our right hand, and do you see I'm not twisting anything? I'm just pinching. So we're gonna loop up, swoop over the top, tuck in this open space that we're holding with our index finger. So tuck and pull, and there is the perfect bow every time. Ears up, tails down. To just secure this a little bit further, we're going to hold the knot, pull the tails. So we're shortening the ears a little bit because we're going to tighten that knot. And that'll bring the length back into the ears. Now let's cut this away from the spool. And by the way, anybody who pre-orders the 2 packets is also going to get an entire spool of this ribbon. I can do that with the pre-order. So that's another little bonus of pre-ordering and doing both kits. If you're thinking about both kits anyway, if you follow Kitchen Table Stamper, you've seen a lot of the sneak peeks. This weekend is the time to shoot me an email and ask to pre-order. All right, let's do some stamping. It's pretty and exciting, right? Let's bring in a couple of things here. Basic white scraps. I've got a little bit smaller than what I need because I did a few of my images ahead of time, so we wouldn't have to stamp, clean, change ink, and then run 2 passes through the die cut machine. So I'll show you that in a minute. But we need some basic white scraps, and then we need 2 basic white pieces that are 2 3/4 inch square. All right, so let's set the squares aside with our circle and our tag for just a minute, and we're going to get some ink pads and a Stampin' Pierce mat. Okay, the palette for this entire stamp camp is Early Espresso, Real Red, Petal Pink, Mint Macaron, and Sweet Sorbet. And I'm going to start with the milkshake glass. Now, I did the Sweet Sorbet glass ahead and cut it out. I'm going to use the exact same technique with the Petal Pink glass. So let's go ahead and stamp that Petal Pink glass. I like to stamp the details first. So we're going to ink up the details in Petal Pink, get a good solid first generation coverage of ink here, and let the ink transfer. The Petal Pink is going to be the hardest 2-step stamping to line up, especially as your stamps get a little bit of pink staining on it. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the landmarks that you want to look for when you're doing the second step of the 2-step stamping. So we've got our details. Now let's get our glass, and what we're going to do is we're going to tap off. And what I like to do is tap off a couple of times and try to get a nice solid tap off, because then we'll have a more even second generation ink. So you sometimes see me do more than one. That's just because I'm waiting for it to be nice and smooth. Now, as I'm lining up here, I'm being very careful to find that the upper right corner of the details is lined up with the stamp image. The lower right corner of the details is lined up with the stamp image. Then I double check along the top of the glass and make sure that the stamp image is running level across the details. So take your time, look for those landmarks, apply the stamp, let the ink transfer, lift, and there we have the details and the full glass. We've got the shadows, and it just is such a cool effect. There's Sweet Sorbet, Petal Pink. All right, so you're gonna do that again in Sweet Sorbet. Now let's do the little glass, the scoop instead of the milkshake. We're gonna do that one in Mint Macron. We're gonna do that exactly the same way. We get our details in Mint Macron, full strength. Then we're going to do the glass in Mint Macron, but we'll tap off first. So let's slide that over, grab our little grid paper, tap off. See how nice and solid that tap off is? That means we're gonna have a nice smooth coverage. And do you see, I don't know if the camera picks up as through the acrylic block, but Mint Macron is much easier because of the contrast to see where you're going. So is the Sweet Sorbet because of the depth of that color. But there's our two-step glass. Oh, fun, right? All right, now let's do our ice cream top here for the shake. I've already done second generation Mint Macron and cut it out. For the inside, we're gonna do second generation Sweet Sorbet. So let's do that one. Got Sweet Sorbet, and again, we're gonna tap off. I love using these 5 colors and then variations of first generation and second generation ink to get depth. I'm gonna do another tap off. See, it's kind of sketchy. I want a nice smooth first generation impression, but I don't want to transfer all the ink either. So we're going for a quick tap off, and we're going for as solid as we can get. That's good. Let's get that second generation on there. Now I have got this little fudge topping and this second generation Petal Pink ice cream. So we've got 1, 2, 3 in 2 different colors that all use the same stamp. So what I did was stamped my early espresso ones, cut them out, and now I'm gonna do Petal Pink, and I'm gonna do it second generation. So just like we did with the Sweet Sorbet, we're gonna ink up, get a nice good solid coverage, tap off, and then make ourselves a little strawberry ice cream here. Strawberries and cream, like the saltwater taffy that's included in the Stamp Camp packet. That's strawberries and cream for sure. Now we need 2 straws, one for inside, one for outside. I did all of my straws, all of my cherries in real red ink, and I like how that gives consistency to all of my projects, and they all kind of match that way. But these would definitely be fun in Sweet Sorbet. I love the straw in Balmy Blue because the other color in this gingham is Balmy Blue. So if you worked some Balmy Blue into it, Balmy Blue straws are great. Let's do a straw and a cherry. I did ahead a couple cherries. On Monday, the video series is going to start for the Stamp a Stack card class. Now the Stamp a Stack card class is going to be free online. It's going to be Monday and Tuesday on the blog. The class packet is optional. That's a purchase. But the class is free, the Stamp a Stack card class. And you'll see as you watch those videos, we stamped a couple of extra cherries for our last round of thank you cards. And so I don't stamp too many cherries for this whole class. I keep showing, I should find that thing and show you so that you can compare from the first video that'll be on Monday or Tuesday and to this video, how many of those cherries we've used. I have been stamping and making videos for this Stamp Camp for days. All right, let me slide this out. We're gonna grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Got to switch it for die cutting. All right, so we need 2 and 3 this little guy on here and line up the dies. I've also got a little bit of sweet sorbet scrap here. Let's throw the hearts from the die set on there. All right, so the sweet sorbet ice cream and the little glass. If you guys are not catching the sneak peeks or not email list subscribers, you might not know, we've got 5 projects in the Share a Milkshake Stamp Camp. 2 treats, a fun fold card, and 2 cards. That is available online only or with the packet and with the extra kit during the pre-order here, special over the weekend. And the Stamp a Stack class is free on the blog Monday and Tuesday. It's a 2-design, 5-card Wonder Recipe number 6 class. So the Stamp a Stack is our usual, the same thing that you're used to seeing over the months, where you can take the class for free on the blog or order the optional class packet. But the Stamp Camp is something new, and we're going to offer a series of 5 stamp camps this year. It's kind of in our place of Camp Wanna Stamp. So those of you who have been following me for a long time, you know about Camp Wanna Stamp. It was a summer event that we did where it featured 5 bundles and stamp sets and had 5 modules, and you earned 5 merit badges, coordinated merit badges. I've been doing it for years and years and years. And there, I think since 2014, I've been doing it, and I think I've taken 2 years off. So it's been probably 8 years of Camp Wanna Stamp, and there's been badges for every camp to collect. So there are people who have collected all the badges, but we're gonna do a little different this year. We're doing our stamp camps in a series of 5 that'll go throughout the year. Our first one is this Share a Milkshake. I can't wait to show the badges. I don't have them yet though. I ordered them and they've been printed. I'm waiting for them to get here in the mail. All right, so here's all of our little die cut bits. And let's pop these out. I'm going to grab my silicone mat now. If you haven't seen the silicone mat, it's a 6x6 non-stick mat. I love it for hot glue too. You can see I use the hot glue and it just peels right off. So this is a great way to assemble your milkshake if you want it flat without dimensionals. So we're gonna go ahead and get these pieces that we just created. We need a straw, a float, a glass, a cherry, and topping. I'm going to show you 2 ways to put this little milkshake together that have been working really well for me. I'm going to do this one with liquid glue. So the first thing I'm going to do is dab a bit of liquid glue below the slot here. So if you haven't seen, there's a little slot that cuts when you die cut out this float. I'm going to put the straw in that slot and into the glue. Then I'm going to take a little bead of glue across the top of the glass. We're working on the silicone sheet, so if we squeeze any glue out the back, we haven't glued it to our table, and it'll actually still, what residue of glue ends up back there will help us adhering this to the inside of the card. Slide the little topping on there, and then the cherry, just a little bit on the base of the cherry, and that is our flat assemble milkshake. Now let's do the glass with a single scoop and the other milkshake. We're going to do those dimensional. So I like to take my, see, that's going to keep our milkshake all together and not stick to the table. Now you don't want to work beyond assembling these on this mat because you don't want to stick your project in that glue later. This is the whole point of using this mat. Your milkshake won't stick to it. The glue won't be on your work surface. You put this aside somewhere where you won't stick your project into it. You let it dry, and then the glue just peels off. Okay, do you see that? So really awesome for stuff like this where you're assembling. All right, for our little guy, we need a glass and an ice cream scoop and a cherry. I like to take a regular size dimensional, pop that on the back, adhere the ice cream using the adhesive that sticks off from the back. And now we've got our little dish. Then I'll take a dab of glue on the cherry, just at the very bottom, the tiniest bit will do. We'll put the cherry on the ice cream. Then we're gonna flip this over, stay out of your glue. And we're gonna add a mini dimensional where the cherry and the ice cream meet. So there's our little dish. And now how I do this guy is I take another regular size dimensional. I'm gonna flip my glass and put the dimensional to the left side. All right, so we got our dimensional. Now we're going to slide the straw into the ice cream like we did for the first one. And then we're gonna adhere this to the glass on that dimensional that hangs over. And the straw is going to catch in that dimensional. So now we've secured the straw so it won't slide out. And we're gonna add a couple more dimensionals here. I like to use the halves. So we're gonna put one here. And let's see, I got another half. We're gonna put one to support down here. Now flip. And like we did for the original, liquid glue. Got my liquid glue. I have a little bit of a blob of liquid glue right there. So I'm gonna grab some for my cherry. Sharing the glue is always the best tip. If you're a messy gluer, share the glue. Put it on. If it's a little too much, share it. And you'll find that you're a much tidier gluer. Now flip this, just like we did for the little guy. We're gonna add some dimensional to hold the cherry to the rest of the glass. And there are our assembled share a milkshake elements. Aren't they cute? All right, we're gonna slide these aside and way aside. We don't want to take any chance that we stick our card in the glue. Here's our base. And here's our sample. Cute, right? Let's go ahead and assemble the little tag. I don't want to lose the little tag. We have just a little bit more stamping to do. So let's work on that really quick. I've got these two bigger hearts. Those are for later. So I'm going to put them with our ice cream elements. There's our little tag. I'll put it here so you can see the contrast. And the smallest heart. The smallest heart is going to be perfect for a half a mini dimensional. Pop that on. Whoop, lost it. Remove the liner and adhere centered on the tag. Is that just the cutest little embellishment? And it was scraps. Oh my goodness, it was made from scraps you'd throw away. Now in your kits, you'll get linen thread. You'll have lots of linen thread. If you get the kits, you'll have 6 yards of linen thread, so plenty for this. We're going to slide from the front. We're going to slide under the ribbon. And then same thing. We are not twisting, we're not tying, we're not doing nothing. Pull through. So here's our, just like we had, a little about the length of your hand. In your right hand, you're going to lift. So you're going to just pinch, loop, swoop, tuck, and pull. Now hold the center and pull the tails to arrange the size of your loops. Now you've got the perfect little bow and your tag is tied to the card. We are officially not at risk to lose it anymore. All right, a little bit more stamping, just some greetings. So we need one of those 2 3/4 inch squares and our circle, early espresso ink. And let's get a Stampin' Pierce mat. All right, now here, if you go on autopilot, you might mess up. Inside the card, your squares are on point, you see? So we're gonna do Life is Sweeter with you and those 2 bigger hearts, but we need this square on point. I can't tell you how many times I've done this card and almost stamped my inside sentiments or elements on the square turned square because I usually use them as squares, not on point. So put on point, and then Life is Sweeter, high of center. And then for our outside, you're the cherry on top. And we want that up and to the right on this circle. Sometimes I say on the upper right corner and then I crack myself up. All right, you're the cherry on top. I love this font. So it'll be awesome for next year's Valentine's. Let me tell you, it is easy to find awesome treats to go with this theme. I'm going to get a little crazy with the dimensionals here. Usually I don't double dimensional the front of a card, but this one is just, I don't know, just too cool. So I'm going to dimensional You're the Cherry on top. If you're going to mail this one and you want to try to keep it in the US, you got to stay under like 1/4 of an inch to use a regular stamp. You're not going to want a double dimensional here. It still might be kind of a tight one for standard postage, but we're making a wow card. So I'm going ahead with double dimensionals. You're the cherry on top. Make sure it's level. Grab your milkshake and remove the dimensionals. Pop that on at the very edge of the circle. Now don't stick it down yet, because you've got to bring this little guy in and you want to make sure it doesn't touch your greeting. And it's going to be fine, so I can stick it down now. And then, so we just had kind of a dry fit to make sure everything worked. You're the cherry on top. Make sure your feet on your glasses run level. You don't want like glasses in space, you know, where one's up high and one's down low. Anyway, let's move on to the inside of our card. Get Life is Sweeter with You and our other 2 3/4 inch square. Now we've got a little space right here so that you can write a little birthday greeting or sign your name or something. We want to leave a little space for that, especially since underneath Life is Sweeter with You, we're going to add those little hearts. So think about that. It's easy to just decorate every single space, but you want a little room to say, love Barb. Happy birthday, Sue. Love Barb. It's got to be somewhere, right? All right, so we got some, let me move my little sheet in here because I'm going to use it again. I got some liquid glue on these hearts. Oh my goodness, I think I like the mint macaron for my explosion even better than the sweet sorbet gingham. I'll show you both in just a minute. All right, so look at, here's our milkshake, and it just picks right up. Even if we oozed a little bit of glue as we were assembling, this is brilliant. I use it all the time in designing and in crafting. I use it with my hot glue gun, but I almost never show it to you guys, and that's a shame. So I just thought this was the perfect project to bring that out. I have a little milkshake, little room to write a tiny little something. Now, Life is Sweeter with You. You're the cherry on top. This is mint macaron gingham. This is sweet sorbet gingham. Which one do you like better? You can let me know in the comments. We've got a little embellishing to do. Now, you can use as many or as few embellishments as you have. I did 5 on this one. I did 3 kind of in this open space on the white. This is the clear. It looks kind of icy. And there's 2 up here too, but I think those 2 kind of get lost. So whatever you want to include on your card, I'm going to this time do pink ones, and I'm just going to do 3 because I feel like the other 2 kind of got lost there. So whether you do 3 or you do 5, I guess it depends on how special and blingy you want your card to be. You're the cherry on top. All right, so if you want more information about the Stamp Camp, the Stamp-A-Stack, you need to get over to kitchentablestamper.com/email and get on our list. On Tuesday, we send out emails. There's always a free tutorial in the email. So this one from June 2020 or July 2022, if you weren't a newsletter subscriber, it's been months. You would have known about this card months ago. So get on the email list. You'll get all the details there. If you've been waiting for the Share a Milkshake Stamp a Stack or the Share a Milkshake Stamp Camp or both, please feel free to email me and ask for the link to pre-order the packets. I will send you a discount link and then include a kit for this card in your packet. Marisa@kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up 24/7 or to join, buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you in the next video.